Whether new shooter, longtime gun owner, or even police officer or soldier, your handgun needs a Crimson Trace laser sight or light. Get the confidence and reliability you need to protect family, home, and country. Crimson Trace.
I'm a gun owner.
Your views, advice, and questions are the driving force of Gun Talk.
I don't think that guns are scary things.
Visit us online at www.guntalk.com. Call Tom now at 866-TALK-GUN, 866-825-5486. Let us know what you think about the gun-related issues of the day. Now, back to Gun Talk.
Alrighty. Lots of news going around right now. I tell you what, of course, we have the Fort Hood shootings. We've been talking about that. Again, Fort Hood shooting. No, we're not talking about the first one. We're talking about the second one. You've been paying attention to that. Of course, that also follows the Navy Yard shooting. Gun-free zones. When are they going to get it? Gun-free zones are free fire zones. They're places where people can go and commit mass murder undeterred, unmolested for a given period of time. All I'm saying is this. We want to reduce the amount of time it takes for them to get to the point where they stop shooting. We want to stop them more quickly. We want to reduce the body count. The commanding general at Fort Hood says, well, the police got there in minutes. Great. Imagine somebody gets shot every 10 seconds. It can be faster than that, of course. 2 minutes is forever. 5 minutes is an eternity. 10 minutes is astronomical. How about if a first responder, i.e. somebody who is there, somebody like you or me, somebody pulls out a gun and stops it? And it's amazing how many times when somebody pulls out a gun, police officer or principal of the school or student of a school or concealed carry holder or off-duty police officer or the woman in the New Life Church shooting in Colorado Springs, and the guy shoots himself. I kind of like to have him hasten that process. But you can't do that in a gun-free zone, can you? We have to wait for the authorized people. The other thing that's happening is we're, if you will, celebrating the 20th year anniversary, the birthday of the Brady Bill, which became the Brady Act. Joining me to talk about that right now from the Firearms Coalition is Jeff Knox. Hello, Jeff. How are you?
Hey, Tom. How you doing?
The Brady Bill, can you believe it's been 20 years?
It's really hard to believe. I remember when it passed. I remember the frustration at the time, and I've watched it over these past 20 years and have fought against expansions of Brady and new iterations of Brady and the crazy people over at the Brady Bunch with all of the nonsense that they send out. It's pretty astounding. But the most important thing is that after 20 years of this law, the reality is it has done nothing.
Well, it actually has done something. It has spent hundreds of millions of dollars. It's put many of us on a list. It has denied tens or hundreds of thousands of people their ability to buy guns when they should not have been denied. And it's being proclaimed by the Brady Group as this fabulous success. But you actually document in the article you recently wrote about the denials. And when you start drilling down how many denials there were of purchases and then how many prosecutions and then how many convictions, can you go over that?
Well, it's pretty complex to go over on the radio, but I'll give you the best I can in a nutshell. They're claiming that something like 1.5 to 2 million at this point denials came through. And they extrapolate from that. They conflate denials to stopping bad guys from getting guns with which they would commit heinous crimes.
Right.
That every time the Brady law stops someone from getting a gun, well, that someone was a bad guy who wanted to get the gun and was going to commit a crime. And the reality is that when you drill down, as you say, even the enforcers, even the folks at ATF that we rail about so frequently, even they look at these cases and say, oh, that's just a guy who didn't realize that he was forbidden or has been hunting for the past 20 years and hadn't purchased a new gun, and now he's purchased one or tried to purchase one and found out that, no, that incident 20 years ago or 30 years ago prohibits you from owning a gun. They don't prosecute.
Or maybe it's somebody who has a license to use medical marijuana, and that prohibits you from owning a gun. They didn't know about that, so they applied. I was looking at the stats that you pulled together for the year 2010. I want to go over this real quickly because that's the last year that we have good numbers. We got 72,000 denials, and of course some of these denials, they appeal and they actually are able to make their purchase. So call it 72,000 people are denied. Of those, only 62, not 6,200, 62 were deemed worthy of prosecution, and of those, only 13 were found guilty. So of 72,000 people denied, 13 were found guilty. And the thing that you and I both know here, Jeff, is that, and a lot of people may not get, is that if you are actually a bad guy and you actually try to buy a gun, and when you sign the little form, the 4473 form, the act of signing that is in itself a crime.
Whether you're really a bad guy or just a stupid guy who didn't realize, the act of signing the 4473 and stating, I am not a convicted felon, I am not a user of prohibited drugs, I am not a convicted domestic abuser, when you sign that form, that is, if that's not absolutely true, you are committing a felony in that act.
So
if you're a bad guy, if you're a bad guy that signs it, then they will prosecute you. But only 13 were prosecuted and convicted.
Out of 72,000 that were denied. Let me give you another example of who gets denied. Somebody 20 years ago got into a divorce, that they argued with each other, and they both had restraining orders. And he said, oh, yeah, fine, okay, they're going to charge you with some kind of domestic violence. It's a $50 fine. The lawyer says, just pay it, don't worry about it. Okay, I just never thought about it again. 20 years ago. Now it shows up, of course, part of the whole Lautenberg Act, which now is the bill. Now you are prohibited for life from owning a gun, and because you didn't know it, you actually commit a felony by filling out this stupid form that we have to fill out, which, let me just say this, because the Brady Bill has done no good whatsoever, it should in fact be scrapped. People say, well, aren't you for a background check? I say, no, I'm not. I'm not for a background check. It doesn't do any good. It costs millions, hundreds of millions, maybe billions of dollars. It has created this incredible bureaucracy. And I guess, and this is where I would hand it off to you, Jeff, it creates a mechanism by which you can not only deny people their rights to guns, but it gives the government a mechanism by which they can go and take them away.
Absolutely, Tom. And that mechanism expanded just this last month with the decision out of the Supreme Court, which is very troubling.
Yes.
What the Supreme Court said, and I have a new column about this specific issue at firearmscoalition.org, but what the Supreme Court said in this case was that even minor, simple assault, and for people who don't understand, if you put your hand on someone's arm, on their shoulder, when they don't want you to touch them, that's assault. Right. If for instance, you're in the house with your wife or girlfriend and you're having a big argument and you say, forget this, I just need to get out of here. And she stands in front of the door and says, oh, no, you don't. We're going to talk about this right now. And the guy says, look, I can't. and he shoulders past her out the door. That is assault under the law because he made physical contact when it wasn't called for. And in this decision, what the Supreme Court unanimously decided was that even those very basic non-harm assaults constitute domestic violence, and you lose your gun rights forever. And exactly. So this is one of the reasons that I get furious with the folks on our side, our leaders sometimes, who say, enforce the laws that are already on the books. No, those laws are bad. They're destroying freedom and liberty and ruining people's lives for stupid stuff that should not even be considered criminal.
And now we haven't even talked about the fact that the VA, the Veterans Administration, has labeled more than 100,000 returning veterans as having PTSD or having some sort of mental illness because they are concerned they can't handle their own finances or whatever, and they now, for the rest of their lives, can never own a gun.
And that's one of the little tricky things that's in there. And again, a lot of people on our side are saying, oh, yes, we support expansion of NICS and getting more information about mental health in there. But one of the things, most of those 100,000 plus veterans who have been denied are not denied for mental health issues. They're denied for mental deficiency. And there's a big difference. It says specifically in the law for mental health issues, you have to be adjudicated to be mentally ill and a danger to yourself and others. But then it says, or mental incompetence. And mental incompetence includes anyone who isn't at a mental level where it is reasonable for them to sign contracts, manage their own financial affairs, and so forth. And for the veterans, it becomes a real big problem because if you're a disabled vet and you're struggling financially, and well, you can say, hey, my wife needs to take care of the books, and you'll get more money because she becomes your fiduciary. It's an interesting conundrum.
So they actually bait it. They say there's a payoff for you. There's an incentive for you to say, my wife will handle this for me. But when you do, then they say, oh, but you're also mentally deficient, so you can't have a gun. That goes on your record. The FBI has it when you do a NICS check and you are denied. So here we go again. Hey, Jeff, tell people where they can find out more about it. I love what you're writing about this. You are a strong voice and sometimes a lone voice, I'm afraid.
Firearmscoalition.org, Tom. I'm also on WorldNet Daily, but firearmscoalition.org, you can always find my stuff there.
It's excellent stuff. I appreciate it. By the way, I just tweeted the Belgian Corporal. People need to read that again. That's on your website. It is just a fabulous piece. If you truly want to understand what's going on with gun rights and the battle, that is a great piece that you wrote.
Well, thank you, Tom. That was Dad did that one.
Yeah, I know, but you shared it, so I appreciate that. All right, let's got to scoot here. Thank you, Jeff. 866-TALK-GUN, 866-825-5486. Give me a holler.
Crossbreed Holsters is broadening our product selection to serve more of your concealed carry needs. With products handmade in the USA, like the Bedside Backup, gun belts, and of course our world-famous Super Tuck and Mini Tuck holsters, we understand what works, and we take pride in providing you with a quality product. At Crossbreed Holsters, we live and breathe concealed carry. We make and sell products that we believe in and products that our customers love. To see more, go to crossbreedholsters.com. That's crossbreedholsters.com.
Inaccurate is just plain worthless. Doesn't matter if you're shooting for a national championship or just trying to beat your friend. You need accurate ammo. Nosler's match-grade handgun ammunition delivers. You get Nosler sporting handgun and custom competition bullets in Nosler head-stamped brass, loaded to the same strict tolerances as Nosler's match-grade rifle ammo. Handgun accuracy through match-grade ammo. Available in 9mm, 40, and 45. Visit Nosler.com.
If you carry a gun, you need training. Your concealed carry class was definitely not training. But time, money, and obligations keep you from spending days at a shooting school. The trusted folks at Gun Talk can help. Concealed Carry 1, our DVD featuring the VADA Group, covers what gun, what holster, how to carry, where to wear your gun, and much more. Visit shopguntalk.com. That's shopguntalk.com. Look, this really is life and death. Learn how to stay aware, how to get away, and how to fight if you must. At shopguntalk.com, you can get the 2 DVD set, including Fighting with the 1911 with Tiger McKee. No matter what gun you carry, this vital training info can save your life. Learn the draw, the stance, reloading, vital gear from Gun Talk. That's shopguntalk.com. shopguntalk.com.
The Ruger LC380 is the perfect pairing of the award-winning LC9 pistol and the popular .380 auto cartridge. The LC380 is the same size as the LC9, yet offers reduced recoil, making it Ruger's lightest recoiling personal protection pistol yet. It features a dovetailed high-visibility 3-dot sight system, 7-round magazine and finger grip extension floor plate, manual safety, and loaded chamber indicator. The Ruger LC380, another rugged, reliable firearm from Ruger.
A famous radio consultant once said he'd be off the air in a year. Whoops! Defending your Second Amendment rights since 1995 on over 150 radio stations nationwide. You're listening to Gun Talk with Tom Gresham.
All right, we're back with you. 866 Talk Gun. Art in Nevada just sent me a note. He says, look, I was in the Navy for a long time. He said, what people may not understand in the military, with the exception of some units, a lot of people, they have their basic training, and that's the last time they handle a firearm. So you could be in for 20 years and not handle a firearm again if you're in support services. It's an excellent point. Not everybody in the military gets constant training. Not everybody is combat. A lot of people are support. It would be a mistake to think that everybody in the military is competent and current with firearms. At the same time, that's true of the general population. And in the general population, we have concealed carry, and it doesn't prove to be a problem. And it saves a lot of lives. And we know it's not working so well in the whole military base thing. So we go back, and Art hastens to say, look, I do think that I believe in concealed carry, and people, basically, I think what you're saying, Art, and I would agree, is it's a self-selecting deal. You don't say just because everybody should. You're not going to force everybody to, but you also maybe you say, look, if you have a carry permit, it's a carry permit. It's good everywhere. Not that I think the training you get for carry permit is extensive. It's minimal at best in most places, but it's something. It gives you at least a place to start. Let's go to line 3. Greg's with us out of Coos Bay, Oregon. Hello, Greg. You got you a GP100?
Yes, I did. I just recently acquired. In fact, I haven't even taken it out and shot it yet. I upgraded from the Blackhawk and the 357 to a gun I wanted for more universal use. And I want it basically for car carry, personal carry, home defense, hunting. My question is there anything I need to do to this particular gun out of the box to improve it, or is it good to go?
What barrel length did you get?
Yes, the 4-inch. Stainless steel with the adjustable rear sights. It's got
adjustable sights. You know, the thing you need to do with it, honestly, is to shoot it a bunch, because it will get smoother as you shoot it. And, of course, this is a double-action revolver. You can cock the hammer and shoot it single action, but you should train yourself to think you never, ever cock the hammer in a self-defense situation. You shoot it double-action only.
Well, we live here in southwestern Oregon, where my biggest enemy would be mother black bear and her cub, or a mountain lion, or some other critter.
Yeah, I would say probably the best modification or accessory you can get for it is good ammo. The great part is you can shoot relatively inexpensive .38 special ammo for practice, and then load that.
I own that Ruger Blackhawk, before which I'd go out and target shoot with 38 specialists and things like that. But I really haven't settled on a particular ammo that I would use for everything. I don't want to carry 10 different types of ammo, but it'd be nice to find something that would be useful for hunting, home defense, and everything else.
Yeah, if I were out worried about bears, I would probably carry hard cast lead bullets like Double Tap has. If I were worried about two-legged predators, I would carry expanding hollow point ammo, kind of like the Nosler Defense, some of that stuff. There are there's a lot of good ammo. You might check out, let's see, Nosler has new ammo, Barnes has new handgun ammo, Double Tap has lots and lots of choices out there. The main thing is, if you'll go out and shoot this revolver or put 500 rounds through it, you're going to be better. It's going to be smoother. The other thing you can do is do dry practice with it with no ammo around. Just keep pulling the trigger. It's going to get smoother and smoother as it breaks in. You got a wonderful revolver. This thing should last essentially forever. These things are made like tanks. They're really good. Congratulations. Dave's on line 4, Farmington, New Mexico. Dave, you got a quick question. Throw it at me.
I have a Model 740 Remington autoloader, and I have a problem with it, which I understand is a very common problem with that model. With it sighted in, the first couple of shots will hit the sight-in point, and then as the barrel warms up, the point of impact changes, usually rising.
How much?
Pardon?
How much does it change?
4 or 5 inches.
Woo,
and I have heard or understand that at one time Williams Gun Sight made an aftermarket fix for that, and it has to do with the screw that holds the forearm.
Well, I don't know, and I apologize for being short. Keep listening, okay? I'm going to ask for some help on this one. Do you know of a fix for this on the Remington 740? Give us a holler, 866-TALK-GUN. Dave needs some help, and I do too, clearly, because I just don't know.
One of Talker Magazine's 100 most important radio talk show hosts in America. You're listening to Gun Talk, heard every week at this time on great radio stations across America. Stay tuned. Gun Talk is coming right back. Covering all aspects of gun ownership every week on this fine radio station. You're listening to Gun Talk with Tom Gresham.
All right, back with the 866-TALK-GUN. What was your first reaction when you heard the news stories about Fort Hood? Did you just think about it being another shooting, or did it pop into your mind, oh, gee, another gun-free zone? The failure of the gun-free zone concept, which actually I would submit is not just, it doesn't stop bad guys. I would say it's much more pernicious than that. I would say it actually creates a safe working environment for bad guys. I would say it's an attractive nuisance at the very best, at the very least. And at the very worst, it actually causes mass shootings. Theater in Aurora, schools, Navy Yard, Fort Hood, churches, places that are supposedly off limits. So what happens when a place is off limits? You can't carry a gun there. Who obeys that law? A crazed killer? Yeah, that's going to happen. No, you do. I do. Maybe. Although I got to tell you, just in talking to people, I have seen a change in attitudes the last 10 years. People who 10 years ago were saying, I've got my carry permit and I just don't carry where they've got the signs. Now a lot of them say, are you kidding me? I carry everywhere. It's like they look at me like, you're kidding me, right? How dumb do you think I am? Of course I carry. I just carry it in such a way that they're not going to find it. If I don't have to go through metal detectors, I'm carrying. Forget it. I'm not going to go without this. I'm not going to subject my family to the mercy, to depend upon the mercy of those who have no mercy, which is what you're doing. You're saying, I hope, by the way, hope gets you killed. I hope nothing bad happens. I hope if something bad happens, we can get away. I hope that if we can't get away, he doesn't kill us. I hope. Because that's all you got. A bucket full of hope. And not even an empty holster. You don't even have your holster with you. Mike's on line 2 out of Moody, Texas. Hey, Mike.
Tom, thanks for taking my call.
Yeah.
You have quite a few listeners here in the Central Texas area, so if you don't mind, there's a couple of things I'd like for them to know.
Sure.
You already talked about General Milley looking at this last shooting, as strictly a police matter.
Mm-hmm.
He also, in an interview, I think it was Fox, kind of indicates that he doesn't see any reason to change their policy on private gun ownership on the post.
Correct.
After the Hassan shooting, Congressman John Carter is a congressman for this district, my district. It includes Fort Hood. It's a Texas 31st. After the Hassan shooting, I wrote him a letter. He has, Congressman Carter has an A rating from the NRA, and I wrote him a letter basically just ask him why the largest armored installation in the free world is a gun-free zone. And I thought I'd get back something, he's working on it, whatever. But he wrote me back, and he said that he believes that we have young people coming out of a combat situation, running on adrenaline, who hadn't had time to decompress, and he was all for it. I was shocked. And in an interview after this last shooting last week, he didn't, of course, he took the political route. He didn't really say yes or no, but he indicates that he still doesn't think we need to change the gun-free zone thing at Fort Hood. I just thought, of course, he's running unopposed for re-election this year, but
so he's a lock. He doesn't care what happens. He's going to get re-elected no matter what.
No, but I just like for everybody he represents to know that he was all for that gun-free zone, and as far as I'm concerned, that makes him an accomplice of what happened at Fort Hood this last time.
All right, Mike, listen, I appreciate the info. I wasn't aware of that. John Carter, Texas representative, U.S. representative. So if you're in that district, you might just want to let him know what you're thinking about that. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate that info. Robert's on 1 out of Tucson. Hey, Robert, you're on.
Good afternoon, Tom. You mentioned briefly a few minutes ago about the fact that not everybody is well-trained in the military, is well-trained in weapons use. That's a decision that's made at the very highest levels of command in the military and by Congress, who funds our training. And thus, I think that results like this are a direct result, at least in part, of those decision makings. I also point out that allowing people to carry on military bases is up to the prerogative of the base commander, and so they also have a direct responsibility for results like this.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. And the base commander says, no, we're not going to do it. And look, for those who are wondering, they're scratching their heads and thinking, well, yeah, but these are military guys. They should be pro-gun. I have found, in my experience, that there are more than not, that is the majority of career, higher-ranking military people have an us versus them, almost a paternal viewpoint, and tend to not favor concealed carry, tend to want to put restrictions. I mean, we got up to including Colin Powell, who said, look, you want an assault weapon, then by golly, you should enlist. Thanks so much, General. It's really not what it's about, and it's actually not your say. But when it comes to who can carry on bases, it is their say. This is maybe one of those where you say, okay, what can I do about it? Well, actually there is something you can do about it. You can speak up, because your silence means that you approve. Silence is approval. You want something to change? You got to speak up. Let your congressman know. Let your senators know. Write the newspapers. Speak up. Make comments online. If it's important to you. If you don't care, just go ahead and shrug. Yeah. 866-TALK-GUNS.
Accurate, powerful, consistent. At Double Tap Ammunition, we offer 364 loads in 83 calibers that give you exactly what you've been looking for. Try us out at www.doubletapammo.com and use the promo code GUNTALK for 10% off your order.
Successful hunters know big bucks move early and late, often when it's too dark for common scopes. When that monster steps out, you might see him through the scope, but the crosshairs disappear. All that work and you can't take the shot. But with the Trijicon AccuPoint scope, you'll get the shot. Its bright aiming point glows in daylight or darkness. No batteries needed. AccuPoint scopes are water-resistant and nitrogen-filled, feature multi-layer coated lenses for the brightest image, and you can adjust brightness of the aiming point to match the conditions. Adding 10 or 15 minutes to each end of the day can double the magic moments when the trophies move. You can't hit the target if you can't see the sights. Trijicon AccuPoint scopes. Check out the different models at Trijicon.com or call 1-800-338-0563. Brilliant aiming solutions from Trijicon.
Are you looking for a place to shoot? The National Shooting Sports Foundation has a great website called wheretoshoot.org. It's the largest database of shooting ranges on the internet. It's also a great resource for shooters where you can find video tips, printable targets, and a lot more. Find it online at wheretoshoot.org. And while you're there, download their free iPhone app. That's wheretoshoot.org.
At Double Tap Ammunition, we hand inspect every round that we make, and we use only the best components to give you the best ammunition on the market. Try us out at www.doubletapammo.com and use the promo code GUNTALK for 10% off your order.
Thanks for being one of the 100 million gun owners in America who support Tom Gresham's Gun Talk. Even if you don't want to be on the air, you can still email Tom with your questions or concerns at tom@guntalk.com. Now, back to Gun Talk.
All right, we had a caller just a little while ago. Dave he's in Farmington, New Mexico. He has a Remington 740. It's a semi-automatic rifle. Point of impact is changing when the barrel heats up, moving as much as 5 inches. And so I said, okay, we need some help out here. So Bill in Vancouver writes me, sends me an email, tom@guntalk.com. He says, hey, I've got a Remington 740, just the modern version of that. Somebody gave it to him. He said, the solution to the vertical stringing problem, he said, which Bill has also, he says, find somebody you hate and give them that rifle. Well, yeah, that's a possibility. Some guns just overheat, or some guns shift when they get hot. And, some guns are just harder to do anything about. Line 4, Chris has a possible solution coming out of Utah. Hey, Chris.
Hello there. Yeah, that infill jungle carbine had the same problem, the number 5. Mm-hmm. But with the 740, I've got 2 of them, and I found that I can cure that real easy by putting a muzzle brake on there. And Brownell's Gun Corporation and Gun Parts Corporation, I'd try Brownell's first. They sell about, I'd say, 7 different kinds of muzzle brakes in there, and the AK-74 type's the one I got on one of mine, and it cured it. And he can shorten the barrel and put one on, and that'll cure it too if he's going to have a scope on there. And they also, by the way, sell pistol grip stock. It's in Gun Parts Corporation, and it makes the gun. You can't even tell what the gun was. They get all these extra parts for it, but that's how you cure that problem, is you shorten the barrel and put a muzzle brake on there.
And that cures the climbing as the barrel heats up?
Yeah, mine was my shorter one. I got both. I got a short one and a long one. It went vertical, and the other one kind of went on a horizontal. different playing, and it does. It's really, unnerving to have it happen. But as soon as I shortened the barrel, had it recrowned and threaded, and had that muzzle brake put on there, and then I had a different hand guard put on it, and of course I got a pistol grip stock, and it's all this other stuff you can get for them, and but those fancy things won't help it, but that shortening the barrel and putting that muzzle brake will.
I'll be darned. Okay, well, that's good info. I appreciate that, Chris. By the way, if you're looking for Brownells, it's Brownells, BROWNELLS.com, or just call them 1-800-741-0015. John is on line 2. He's in West Leechburg, Pennsylvania. Hey, John.
Tom, how are you?
I'm good. You got a solution.
I had a similar problem with my Marlin 4570 and my Winchester Model 70 and 300 Win Mag. Both were with hand loads. Okay. In both cases, my 4570, for instance, I was shooting, loading with Hercules Reloader 7. After 10 rounds, you could brand somebody with the barrel. It was so hot. And I switched to IMR 3031, and after 10 rounds with that, the barrel was slightly warm. With the Model 70, it was Hercules Reloader 19. Once again, I actually got a blister from the barrel. When I switched to an IMR powder with the same, I'm just going to make up a number, 10 rounds, the barrel was slightly warm. In both cases, I had issues with Hercules powders.
Did you have your point of impact moving around with the hotter powders?
Yes. When I did my testing, I did a 3-shot group, and the Hercules powders were incredibly accurate. But when I started to do shooting them a little bit more and a little bit more, 10 rounds, 15 rounds, it would climb. The barrel would get real hot, and the bullet would climb. I love the Hercules powders, but
it makes sense that if they are cooler, you're going to have less shift. Because look, what happens is the barrels move when they get hot. I mean, it's just simple as that. And look, I appreciate the call, sir. Let me just explain to people the reason that for accuracy we go to heavy barrels is not because heavy barrels shoot more accurately. It's because they absorb heat more, so that you can get more rounds through them before they start shifting point of impact. So bull barrels are about heat, not about stability. You can make a light barrel shoot accurately, but you just can't shoot it a lot before you start getting shifting of a point of impact. So on a 740, there's nothing you can do about that. But I'm going back to this muzzle brake idea. You're actually adding weight to it. I'm not sure how that's going to... It still should shift point of impact, but I don't know. Look, realistically, in the old days, I'm talking 30, 40 years ago, we just all assumed that if you had a hunting rifle, that once you got to 3 or 4 shots, you are going to start getting a shift in point of impact. And the idea was, for hunting, hey, if you get to the 3rd or 4th shot, the critter's moving anyway. So the reduction in accuracy or a shift in point of impact may not be a big deal. And we tried everything we could do, but it was just kind of a given. And the only thing you could do about it was go to maybe a cooler shooting cartridge. Instead of shooting 300 mag, you shoot a 306 or a 308. Or you go to a heavier barrel. Shorter barrel might make a difference. You get different harmonics with that. I don't know. Now you're starting to get into the world of barrels and harmonics and weight and vibrations and all sorts of weird stuff into the world of the bench rest shooters. But the truth of it is, the 740 was never supposed... I don't know if it's supposed to be. It never was a particularly accurate gun. If you got 2-inch groups out of it, you were a happy camper. And a shift in point of impact didn't bother people because they weren't expecting a lot out of it. And I know that doesn't help you a lot, but just if you really want a rifle that's not going to shift point of impact, get you a good bolt-action rifle, put a heavy barrel on it, shoot it in a moderate caliber like a 308, so even a 260, 7mm 08, something like that. And now you've got a rig that's going to hold its point of impact. It's not going to be shifting on you. And basically, it's going to do what it's supposed to do even after a bunch of shots.
Gun Talk stands for safety, personal responsibility, and common courtesy. To be a part of the show, call 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. Gun Talk will be right back.
All right, back with you. 866-TALK-GUN. We'll get you here. Line 3, Thomas is in Macon, Georgia. Thomas, what you looking for?
Hey, Mr. Gresham, thanks for everything you do. I was wanting to find out if you could recommend a good 22 long rifle upper receiver to go on a AR lower.
Aha. Actually, there are a number of good ones. I mean, Smith has them, others have them. You know what you might do? Do you have a particular place that you're thinking about buying it? Because I was going to suggest you go take a look at the Brownells website because they sell uppers there.
Oh, yeah, I got one of their catalogs, so I do look at it a lot. And that's what I was thinking I might just get. I mean, they're kind of, those are a little expensive. I know there's a real cheap one out there that I don't know if it's any quality or at all.
How old are you?
Let me think, 47. I mean, 57.
Okay,
so I've never been on the air before.
Thomas, Thomas, you're old enough to know what happens when you buy cheap stuff.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir, Mr. Gresham. You're right about that.
I think we just solved that little riddle right there. You know what? Because we both have the merit badges on that one.
Oh, yeah.
All right, listen, I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. I need to get down to line 1. Harry's with us. You looking for some ammo, Harry?
Yeah, for a 17B mag made by Savage, a 20 grain Winchester. You cannot find them.
You've been looking online as well as locally?
I've been looked everywhere, man. I can find 25 grain, but I want the 20 grain, the 3,000 feet per second.
Yeah. I don't have any idea. I mean, the only place I would say is look on the regular places like Brownells or Midway or those kind of places that sell it online because it's unlikely you're going to find it locally. But even then, there is a risk when you buy a new rifle in a new caliber, and this is it right now. If you're looking for 17 Winchester Super Mag or some of these other calibers, if it's a brand new caliber, there's a real risk of being able to find ammo for it. So I think that's where you are. The only thing I could suggest is check online. But I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll put out the call. If anybody knows where you can find this ammo, let us know. There may be a stash out there. And thank you for the call. I still am using that gunbot.net. In fact, I found some 22 rimfire ammo on it the other day and picked up not a lot. Tried to buy a lot from one place, and they didn't take, just simply put, they didn't take American Express, and that's what I wanted to use. They took other cards, and I just didn't want to use that, so I didn't buy it. But there are places on the web that you can go and they were selling 22 ammo in 10,000 round lots. So it's available now. So, for those who say, well, there's just no 22. Yes, there is. It's available. You got to do your legwork. You got to do your homework. And, yeah, your local store may not have much of it. But if you get online, use places like gunbot.net to hunt it down. And be willing to move fast, because when it becomes available, it's often available for only hours, and then they're sold out. But it's out there. You got to pay shipping. So, hey, it's like paying tax. It's what you got to do. So there you go. Hey, when we come back, we're going to have a great Truth Squad success story. You know how I tell you need to stand up, you got to speak up, and when you do, good things happen? We've got a Gun Talk listener who did exactly that, spoke up, and got some things moving. Now, whether or not we're going to get some things changed, I don't know, but at least, you know what? If you can get it moving in the right direction, that's a good thing. For those who are thinking, does it really make a difference? Yes, it does. We got to stand up, we got to speak up. We never let a lie go unchallenged, and we're going to have a great success story from a Truth Squad member. You don't want to miss that. 866-TALK-GUN. You can join us.
In most listening areas, there's one more hour of gun talk coming your way. Then stick around for the after show. After a short break, Tom will be right back with more gun talk. Keep it here on this great radio station.